$2. He says, who is a strong, independent woman and don't need a man? Okay, good question. Show of hands. Who's a strong, independent woman and don't need a man? Anyone on the panel?
I know that's right.
To an extent.
To an extent. Okay, we got Grace. Okay.
Grace. All right.
Anybody else? No? Okay. All right.
Don't need a man for what?
Wait. I think I can answer that question. I don't need a man for anything because this world has created me so that I'm fully capable on my own, but I surely want one.
Well, you're not fully capable on your own because men keep on the lights and men do the sewage. Women ain't working in the sewage and all that type of stuff.
That's not technically true. There's lots of women who can work in the public.
But are they doing it?
But do that?
Yeah, there are women who do it.
You know what I think about that? That's what I think about that.
Yeah, and I also think that just because a man's not, but I mean, I'm still making it this far. I got here, didn't I? I managed to put my own shoes on by myself. I have the lights on at my house, and I drove my own car here, so I can function without a man. I am an independent woman, but like that is not technically by choice. And like just because women want to be that doesn't mean that they're not capable of being a woman who can also have a man. So
what if society was just like at a snap of a finger? Thanos came with all the rings.
Yeah.
And he snapped his finger and erased all men from the planet.
That would be a really sad day.
So my question for you is, do you think there's women could sustain the current living and lifestyle of what they have now?
Women couldn't sustain it because we wouldn't be able to create more babies without men.
Well, not just the babies part. I'm speaking about like the infrastructure, right? Because men, they are the ones that get into, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Women, by their own choice, they don't get into those fields. So there's not enough women. No, it is true.
Well,
by their own choice, is not enough.
Women who took us to the moon. Apparently, it was three black women. I may add, that came up with the numbers that sent the astronauts to the moon. It wasn't men. It was men who stole those three women's ideas because they were women. They weren't capable of doing it. Women don't get into those fields usually because men say we're not smart enough. We have too many emotions and we can't control them. But men tend to be the most emotional people I truly know.
Think? Okay.
Do I think? I definitely know. Being last night when I worked in a bar that I had to sit two men down who were fighting one another because they both said they didn't. One of them called the other one a name. So I'd say that's pretty emotional when they want to fist fight one another over that.
Got you. Let's go back to the other convo. Then we'll touch the convo of emotional men. For the first thing you said, women didn't take men to the moon. That's not true at all.
Well, nobody actually
it's a multitude of people that, had man make it to the moon. Even if it's true, it could be superstition. I mean, it could be a conspiracy. Maybe that the conspiracy is that, we don't really know if they did make it to the moon. So who really knows? But I believe that they did. We never went back. But anyways, the point is that, no, it wasn't 2 or 3 women that took man to the moon. There were many, many, many men working on all the architects, all the engineers, all the scientists. Most of them were men, right? Now, if there were a few women in there, yes. But I want you to think logically about this, right? I got you. Let me finish. I'll let you speak. So I want you to think logically about this. So I ask you a question. So if Thanos came, he snapped his fingers, he took all the men out of here. Right. Do you think women have the bandwidth to sustain the... You think they do? So I'm saying, well, how? Because there's not enough women in these fields.
How?
Yeah, there's not enough women electricians. There's not enough women engineers. There's not enough women in the sewage.
If all the men in the world are snapped out of the world and there's only women left for us to survive for ourselves, that means us women are then going to work together. So that means we'll take all the electricians or the women who know how to do it and we'll figure it out. That's the thing that men don't realize about women is that we are creative energy. We carry it inside our wombs. Men helped us direct it. That's why we need one another. You know what I think would happen
if Thanos snapped his fingers and erased all women from the planet? I think that it would be as many fights as it is with lesbian couples. Lesbian couples, there's statistics out there. They have the highest stats in domestic violence. So I think that if Thanos snapped his finger, women will be arguing, bickering, and fighting with other women because, one, you need a man to help you regulate your emotions. You need a man to put you on that straight path. Women are very, neurotic creatures, and you're higher in trait neuroticism, which means that you feel more negative emotions than a man. And you feel more emotions than a man. Now let's go to the topic of emotions, because you said that, well, there's a lot of men that's way more emotional than women nowadays, from your anecdotal experience, right?
Right.
I would say, generally speaking, that just isn't true. The data the data shows that women are more emotional than men. You get your period each month.
Right.
You bleed from yourself.
Yeah.
You got to think about it. The highest rating shows is all gossip and bickering shows like Hollywood Housewives and all of these little Love and Hip Hop, all of these little shows. Let me finish. You have all of these shows that women watch, that women like drama, and they seek drama. They seek chaos. You literally look after chaos. You want chaos. If you don't have any chaos, you call this dude boring. You call him boring. You skip the good guys because the good guys are too boring. You want the chaotic men. You want the men, and not only just the men, the situations and the lifestyles that it's kind of hard to put your finger on it. You like mystery. So just by your own, I'm speaking in generalities, just by women's own biology and what you're attracted to, and the choices that you make, you look for gossip and chaos. So the facts is that if Thanos snapped his fingers and got rid of all men, you wouldn't be, oh yeah, let's be an electrician. Let's try to, keep this infrastructure going. No, you'll be like, oh my gosh, what to do? And it'll be a lot of drama. That's what I truly think.
Do you know actually the reason why most women fight with one another and why they are pitted against it?
Because of men?
For men. Because for centuries, men have pitted us against one another to see who is better and who to marry. Women are there. That
don't make sense.
It makes lots of sense.
You said
have
men
you ever watched
put
Bridgerton?
Women. That's a fictional.
Okay, but I know
movie.
It's a fictional. It's not all right. But listen at this.
Fictional show.
It's a fictional show, right? But it's based off of how that society worked in that time. So there's a point in history where most men think what marriage comes from is that a woman is a piece of property, right? And which piece of property is better? So most women are basically, since we're as small as possible, is how can you be best for a man? So you have to think in our minds, if that girl's better than me, how could I be friends with her when we're constantly in competition for that man over there?
Okay, so what's your point?
My point is that's where the bickering comes from.
So the bickering comes from over men.
The woman, though.
It stems from.
Thank you, my dear Queen. Queen, what's your name again, Queen?
Jody.
Nah, but go ahead.
Sorry,
finish your thought.
No, what I'm saying is that it stems from the women because we are pitted against one another. Okay. If there's no men for us to compete against one another, and we're put in a place of survival, when women need to survive, they do what they need to do in order to survive. We're talking about
that's kind of all people. I think that the difference between men and women, right? Because we're thinking of the conversation is about if Thanos came, snapped his finger, and got rid of all men. I'm speaking about the cause of it. I'm not speaking about the effect. So the cause of what I'm speaking about is coming from biology. Women, you always look to, from a general standpoint, you look to equalize everything. This is why feminism was so popular and women gravitated towards it so much and was like, oh yeah, this sounds like a good idea. Like feminism, we want equal rights and all this equal stuff. Now it changed. You kind of want to be superior. You don't want anything that's equal. You're looking for even more in this third wave of feminism. Could be even fourth wave. Who knows? But usually, I truly think how it'll work if Thanos came and snapped his finger. Women look to egalitarianize everything. So you look for this equal stuff, right? When men are together, we create a hierarchy. This is why things get done and infrastructure got done, and we built these cameras, these mics, and these lights, and this entire building was all built by men because we understand that hierarchy, right? So it's from top to bottom. If you haven't done good enough, then you ain't getting that. You have to put in work to, get what you supposed to get. But women, you look to equalize everything because of your biology. You're very sensitive and you're emotional. So since you're sensitive, you're looking at the other woman like, well, got to think about it. If I ask all of you to rate one another right now, y'all all be very sensitive. You're like, girl, you a 10. Girl, you a 10, you a 9. I'll be like, well, what does each girl need to change about themselves? You'll be like, you're perfectly fine. You'll be very hesitant to say things because you are very sensitive. It's in your nature. So therefore, if we stripped all men from society, that's how it would be. Nothing would get done. You'll be tiptoeing all around one another to not cause any arguments or any conflicts, but that would still happen. The other thing is, nothing gets done by committee, but that's what you create. You create things a committee because you're so sensitive. So it's like, okay, let's everyone put a number in a bucket and we kind of figure it out that way. And we choose that person instead of choosing a person that put in the most work, did the best job, the person that's the most competent, and they put them at the top of the hierarchy. That's how men operate. That's how we always operate. Is we're naturally in there. We like to compete for things. We want the trophy, first place, second place, third place. No, nowadays you playing kid sports since it's feminism is kind of running the world. Everybody gets a trophy when you're a little kid. That doesn't make any sense. Little Billy ain't even win the race, but he got a trophy. So generally speaking, I do think that women will be bickering, fighting if Thanos came and snapped his finger, and y'all wouldn't build anything. Any takes on that? Anybody else? Or sure, you.
On what you said about hierarchy and competition.
Sure.
So if Thanos came and just wiped everybody out, and let's say it was just all men.
Yeah.
Right? And you're saying that the system that you would have in place is a hierarchy. It would naturally form that way, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Now, when it comes down to competition, would that come later on after the hierarchy is established or immediately?
No,
Like,
the competition
everybody-
is for the hierarchy.
The competition is for
Yeah, the
hierarchy.
competition,
So it would come
competition for the hierarchy.
first.
Yeah, that comes first.
Okay.
And not only that, like men, we naturally understand. Like it's been multiple women that I had to kick off this podcast because they didn't understand the hierarchy. Right? I did conversations with men that I almost got into fights with because these beta males don't understand the hierarchy. Like nigga, this is my podcast. You can get this work. Catch these hands real quick. But a female, it's not like that. Oh, you're not complying. Goodbye. You know what I'm saying? So men, we naturally understand a hierarchy because we were built to compete. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay.
Anybody else before we get to the next super chat? Or you got more? What else you got? Don't give up.
I'm just wondering, what you think would happen if all the women are zapped from the world and men were left to fend for themselves?
Well, there was a show. What's that show called? It's on Netflix. Was it on Netflix? They put men on the island by themselves, and I think they put women on the island by themselves. Something like that.
Bear Grylls?
That's what it's called?
I believe so.
Bear Grylls is when you go out in the woods with the man who kills animals and
Yeah,
eats
but it was
them.
an episode on Bear Grylls, I believe, or Survivor. One of those, but go ahead.
Yeah, it was just they had all the women like alone, like by themselves.
They put
like a
all the
reality
women
TV
on.
show, it
Yeah, they
was?
put all the women on an island and all the men on the island, and then in in a few days, men cleaned water, was building fires, building shelter,
Right.
but women. They in a few days they didn't build anything. They literally quit the challenge and all of that. So it showed that just men, we created that hierarchy in a short
Where
amount of
did they
time. They
pull
put the
these
best
women from?
they put the best person in position first. What'd you say?
Where'd they pull these women from?
Who knows? But he just bringing up
that's
a show.
irrelevant. That's irrelevant.
He's bringing up a show. We're just
Yes,
thinking
it
about
is.
the biology
It
of it.
depends on the type of women you have. If you take women from the country who like to build and who are on the farm all day long, you stick them out.
Well,
in the woods,
that's a
they're
nonsensical
capable woman.
Yeah, that's a nonsensical statement because generally, from a general standpoint, right? So
Right, but you're talking about a reality TV show where they probably plucked a bunch of people from downtown LA.
It don't matter
stuck them
where you
in the
pluck them
woods,
from.
and then now you're using that as why all women can't.
No, we're not
build
saying
a
that.
society.
No one said all.
That's
No
what
one
it
said all.
sounds like
So,
you're saying.
yeah, real quick, that's nonsensical. The logical way to look at it is generally women are weaker than men from a physical standpoint. They are higher in trait neuroticism. You always look at the glass half empty instead of half full, generally. So what we're saying is, and you look to equalize everything and you're sensitive. So if we pick, 100 random women out of 1,000 women, out of 10,000 women, it's a higher probability to get, women that really can't complete tasks, really don't understand the hierarchy, the probability is just higher because it's not embedded in you to be like how a man is, and that's totally fine. You're not men. But go ahead.
When it comes down to this, right? Do I believe that if men were zapped, I feel like women could band together and make things work, but it would take a lot longer than it would men.
Yeah,
Like you said, how they were on the island and we kind of just was just like bickering and not getting anything done.
It's called Bear Girls.
Yeah, I was right.
And I feel like that's because of one, our natural biological nature,
Yeah.
but also because of what we've become accustomed to society. We've been accustomed to sit back while the men do the work and the labor and create and all of those things. So we're capable, we're innovative, we're strong, we're smart, we're all of these things, but it would take us a lot longer to break out of that shell that we've already been in to go into that masculine energy, because let's be real, as women we have feminine and masculine. When I'm working, when I'm getting things done, I'm in my masculine energy. But outside of that, I'm in my feminine. So if I was to be one of those women put on that island, taken from the city in my natural soft life girl vibes, now I have to eradicate from that and go into my masculine energy to build, to create, to work and do all of these things. And imagine a group of women going into that energy. You get what I'm saying? So it's not that we're naturally women in our natural feminine essence doing all of these masculine things. We're going to embody what they have, their energy, as men to do what they do.
Yeah, and this conversation all started with you saying that, the chat asking who's an independent woman, and he was like, well, I consider myself, pretty independent. I don't really need a man.
I was raised a strong, independent woman. Don't get me wrong.
Well, I'm just saying that's where this conversation streamed from, and I think that women will be on more antidepressant medications than ever before if you got rid of men, because we already have stats from it right now. Most women that are 40 years old and single, well, they're living at home with cats and dogs and they don't have a man, and they're on those women are on the most antidepressant medications.
I don't suggest anybody take antidepressant.
I know, I'm just saying. The point was that
taking it, so
if you claim independent, all of this type of stuff, well, the facts is that, well, you do need a man because men created everything that you're seeing and touching right now.
But from the standpoint that, like, you speak of it, it almost sounds like you say it as if men don't really need women. Like, you say
we never said that.
No, but like the way you might not be saying it, but like the way you come off and energetically, the way like when you're saying it to us, like we're receiving it like
I don't know.
need
Are y'all
us
receiving
and like
it that
we don't
way?
need you. Like that's how it comes off as.
No, we all need each other. We're better together than we are apart. That's
Absolutely.
what I'm saying. But for this hypothetical, it was like erasing all men and just talking about women.
I think women are fully capable of banding together and talking to one another. Just like if men got rid of all women, I think men would be fighting for the first 24 hours.
Did you see Bear Girls? Did you see
Did I see Bear Grylls? I didn't see Bear Grylls, but I also know reality TV shows are made up and there's people watching them and they pick them literally.
Go ahead, you can make your point though. Let him make his point.
They had one girl that had, the survival instincts, like you said, like the girl from the country that can build and stuff. Yeah. They had one girl that knew how to do all that kind of stuff, and they still lost the challenge. Like by the third day, they were starving.
Right.
And you know why? Because they didn't put that girl at the top of the hierarchy and respect her and listen to her. Because women ain't following. They really don't want to follow a man. You think they're gonna follow a woman?
Position?
What do you mean? Did she put herself in that position?
She put herself in the position of leading and believing that she was capable of leading, so that someone, if you want to be a leader, you have to step up and be a leader. And once you believe you're a leader, people start to follow you. If
generally
you think
speaking,
you are,
women, what I'm saying is, generally speaking, women don't have that grit like men have to put themselves in that leadership role. They don't assert themselves how a man does. You're not a born leader like a man is. Men are born natural leaders. But anyways, okay. Any other takes on this? Anybody? No? Oh, on this couch? I've been silent on this couch. All right. I guess this conversation isn't for y'all then. So if you like that clip and you want to watch more, click right here. But if you want to watch the full episode, click right here.